And our word for today on this memorial of St. Augustine, Bishop and Doctor of the Church, on this Wednesday, August the 28th, our word for today is imitate. Imitate our word for today. We find it in St. Paul's second letter to the Thessalonians, chapter 3. We instruct you, brothers and sisters, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, to shun any brother who walks in a disorderly way, and not according to the tradition they receive from us. For you know how one must imitate us. For we did not act in a disorderly way among you. On the contrary, in toil and drudgery night and day we worked so as not to burden any of you. Not that we did not have the right, rather, we wanted to present ourselves as a model for you, so that you might imitate us. May the Lord of peace himself give you peace at all times and in every way. The Lord be with you all. Imitate our word for today, and what we see again from St. Paul is the benefit that he and the other followers of Christ received in Jesus' instruction to his followers and his disciples regarding the scribes and the Pharisees. So now, this tradition that we heard again from St. Paul yesterday, when we talked about the fact that we had this protection in the church because of what was handed down both orally and in written manner, and then proclaimed as the teaching of Christ through the church that he himself founded, with the promise that the gates of hell would not prevail against it. So we see a continued revisitation of this thing. That now, what Paul is saying, now that you have those traditions, now that you have those teachings, follow them as we follow them, that you might find freedom, that you might not go back to what was there before. Now, again, in our gospel reading, Jesus goes on with this dissertation regarding the scribes and the Pharisees. It appears that he's speaking to them directly, but we know because we heard the beginning of these readings from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 23, that he's actually speaking to the crowds and to his own disciples, really about the scribes and Pharisees. And Jesus says, "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You're like whitewashed tombs, which appear beautiful on the outside, but inside are full of dead men's bones and filth of every kind. Even so, on the outside you appear righteous, but inside you are filled with hypocrisy and evil doing." So again, St. Paul is saying, don't be like that. You know, we read this reading from St. Paul, and we decide who the people are that he's talking about. But quite frankly, brothers and sisters, he's continuing to talk about leaders who are saying something other than what is being passed down through the apostles, through those entrusted with the proclamation of the gospel and the authority of the church through the laying on of hands from Peter to the other apostles and their successors. This is already in place. Again, we instruct you, brothers and sisters, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, to shun any brother who walks in a disorderly way and not according to the tradition they receive from us. Again, building on that idea of authentic leadership, which, after everything is said and done, relies completely upon obedience to the church. So as long as we are obedient as members of the church, and then we honor and we follow those leaders that have been appointed in the church through the laying on of hands, those who possess the promise, particularly the Pope and those in union with him, then we remain in a safe place. Outside of that, we become susceptible to many, many, many things. So in this way, we imitate Paul, and again later, Paul says, imitate me as I imitate Christ in all things, but also in obedience. And so we imitate Paul, we imitate those authentic followers of Christ from the very beginning who walked in the way that was set before them, not in a disorderly way, but following the laws, the precepts, the teachings of Christ given to his church. Imitate our word for today.